Hey guys, before we get into this video, just a heads up, this was recorded about 3 or 4 days ago, but it's still pretty relevant content. For those of you who watch the channel on a regular basis, you know that I swapped my 3080 Ti out in my desktop for an ARC A770 and had some troubles with exporting video. So I just got back in town, I just swapped out the ARC A770 back to the 3080 Ti. And I wanted to get this video out to you guys because it does have some relevant content, but maybe a little bit of old news, so hopefully you can still enjoy this video. And by the way, for those of you who are waiting for me to discuss this new GPU mineable coin that is profitable, I'm going to have that coming up in the next video, so stay tuned. That will be out on Saturday. What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of Mind Something. If you're new here, my name is Jake, and in today's video the crypto market is pumping. We've got HiveOS with some change logs. We got a new coin that you need to avoid. We're going to take a look at the headline news from Cointelegraph. Also, TON is still pumping. Then we're going to listen to a couple of excerpts from the Financial Service Committee and the key takeaways from the FTX collapse discussion. And then, does Kaspa and Zelcore have a collaboration coming? Also, I've got some 7900 XTX hash rates for you. And can you get your hands on one? So do me a favor, hit the like and hit the subscribe, and let's jump straight into it. So right now, the market is looking pretty good. Time of recording is about 10:55 p.m. on Tuesday night. Bitcoin is sitting at 17,773, Ethereum at 13,020. XRP sitting at 39 cents, Dogecoin at 9 cents, Cardano at 31 cents, Polygon at 92 cents, Polkadot at $5.28, Litecoin at $78, and look at TON, currently up 32% for the week and 11.28% for the last 24 hours. And I did do a little bit of investigating, and I do have some news to share about TON. We'll get to that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the GPU mineable coins. So first, let's take a look at Radiant, which is not doing well at all, currently sitting at 0.001489, down about 10% on the 24-hour chart. Cointelegraph has only had this listed for about a week now, so we're not going to be able to go too far back on the chart. But as you can see, we were previously up to about 0.0025, and yeah, we're down considerably from there, which is making profitability very minuscule. Speaking of profitability, we'll get into what to mine here in just a moment, but let's take a look at Kaspa. So Kaspa is down about 7.5%. Now, you know, I've been telling you guys that this looks like a Wyckoff accumulation, and what I would expect is for us to hit support somewhere around 0.004, maybe 0.0045. Now, me personally, I'm going to pick up some if we get down to 0.005. You know, market psychology, I think a lot of people probably have buy orders in somewhere around that 0.0048 mark, but I don't think it's going to get quite that low, and I really don't want to take the chance of it not getting down there and then missing my buy opportunity. So pay close attention to this. You know, once we get down to that 0.005 mark, not financial advice, but I'm personally going to pick up a little bit more of that when I can. Also, let's take a look at Flux and Ergo. So Ergo is up about 3%, moving with the rest of the market. It got up to $1.44 today, currently sitting at $1.41, and Flux is sitting at roughly 50 cents. It's up about 1.8%. It was up to 51.5 cents earlier today. So let's go ahead and take a look at what to mine. So right now at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, my farm, we're sitting at about negative $5.20 on Neoxa, negative $5.27 on Kapow. Conflux negative $3.62, Flux negative $4, Ergo negative $2.91, and where's Kaspa? There's Kaspa. It is negative, which I believe is negative maybe for the first time since you guys have been watching some of these videos, which is disappointing. So if you're at 10 cents per kilowatt hour or over, you are currently not turning a profit on Kaspa. Let's see what it would take to get profitable on Kaspa. We'll try 9 cents per kilowatt hour first. That would put you at 2 cents in the profit. So yeah, if you're at 9 cents or under, then, you know, potentially keep the rigs on. I don't know. That's up to you. There's definitely some cards that are more efficient than others. So I have a variety of cards which consist mostly of 30 series, but I've got several 6600s. I've got 3080 Ti's, 3080s, 3070s, 3070 Ti's, 3060 Ti's, all of which are non-LHR with the exception of the 3080 Ti and the 3070 Ti. Anyways, moving on, let's take a look at this new coin, which is called Skydoge. Looks like we've got roughly about 5 pools, our plant being one of them. And I went ahead and took a look at the information that I could find, which isn't much. If you go to this website, it's quite comical, to be honest with you. I don't even know what to say. This is just laughable. Let me play you this little intro video they got. And we won't play the whole thing, just a moment of it. Yeah, just pitiful. Check out some of the language in here. So you got much Bitcoin, such Doge, very remember. Does this sound like it was made in the US or any country that their primary language is English? You know, not to say anything bad about any other country, but you know, obviously they're shooting for a Western audience, but definitely not Western creators, I would suspect. And, you know, it just seems like everything that you can find now on mining pool stats now is similar to this in nature, in the sense that it's just a cash grab. And it's kind of gross, to be honest with you. It really, you know, I know we're going to go through this in all the bear markets. We're going to have coins popping up left and right. Everybody's trying to get a little piece of the action and garner some of your hash rate, but don't give it to them, guys. This just pitiful. Anyways, moving on. So we got some changelog stuff to cover on HiveOS. So apparently Gminer has improved Kaspa by 5 to 7%. What else we got? They've also got dual mining mode up to 10%. And then yesterday we had Team Black Miner version 1.77 improved the Stratum implementation for easel.me, Hivon.com, and others. Faster vert hash mining, reduced stale shares. And then we had one on the 11th also for Gminer version 3.16, improving mining performance on Kaspa, ETC plus Kaspa, Ergo plus Kaspa, and a few other things. And then of course we had the new BZ Miner version 12.2.0 was added to HiveOS, in case you guys weren't aware. And then we've got Wild Rig Multi version 0.35.1b2 implemented support for Nexapow Algo, dev fee of 5%. Geez Louise. And then we've got XM Rig CC version 3.3.3 rebase latest XM Rig -6.18.2 dev changes, more optimizations for Zen 3, Zen 4 CPUs. By the way, I should mention right now is a good time that in my test between BZ Miner 12.2.0 and LOL Miner version 1.64, just a couple of key things to note. One is there is a dev fee included in BZ Miner, and I did not disable that. So that would give an additional 1% towards BZ Miner in total shares, which would have put it at about 18,800 shares. And then also, this was a one rig test. And if I had my entire farm on it, then I would say that there wouldn't be much variation in total shares earned. But there can be a slight variation, just shares earned. It's not always stagnant, even on a static pool. So there can be a 1 to 2% variance in that test. So best case scenario, BZ Miner would have probably been really close to LOL Miner version 1.63, but I still think 1.64 would have edged it out just slightly. Anyways, moving on, next thing I got for you guys is some articles by Cointelegraph. And we're not going to read all of these. I just wanted to cover some of the highlights today. So we got Binance's proof of reserves raises red flags. And some of those red flags, by the way, are being raised by some of the other central exchanges heads. I believe it was maybe Kraken's CEO that was basically telling everybody to pull their funds off of Binance. And speaking of which, I think $3.6 billion has been removed from Binance in just the last couple of days. There's also some FUD being spread around some of the stable coins. I know that they halted trades on, I think it was USDT. But let's read some of these other ones here. So Sam Bankman-Fried tried to destabilize crypto market to save FTX report. Why is Bitcoin price up today? Binance suspends traders account after complaints on Twitter. PayPal has become an episode of Black Mirror, according to Elon Musk. CFTC declares Ether as a commodity again in court filing. Apple to allow third-party app stores in windfall for NFT and crypto. What Goldman Sachs CEO misunderstands about private blockchains. Algorand to support bank and insurance guarantee platform in Italy. Crypto community members discuss bank run on Binance. Ethereum rallies to 1350, but derivatives metrics remain neutral to bearish. German crypto asset trading platform Bitcoin Group, SE, buys bank with full license. Binance net withdrawals top 3.6 billion over the last 7 days. We talked about that. You can commit fraud in shorts and t-shirts in the sun, says SDNY attorney on Sam Bankman-Fried indictment. Speaking of the Sam Bankman-Fried indictment, let's go ahead and get into the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services. So I have a couple little clips that I want to play for you guys just to kind of contrast the difference between those in Congress who know what the hell is going on versus those that are completely clueless. So there were some great questions in today's meeting. There were some terrible questions as well. I believe there was a lot of agendas being pushed, and there was a lot of genuine concern to save the crypto market. So it was kind of a mixed bag. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have Sam Bankman-Fried there to testify, and I'll get to that here in just a moment, but I want you to listen to Mr. Cleaver here. This is embarrassing, but let me just play you the clip.
I wonder if you would support a resolution that I've been thinking about introducing, changing the name of cryptocurrency to creepy-dough currency. I'm going to discuss this with my colleagues. I think it's an appropriate name. I just wanted to know whether you would support changing it to creepy-dough.
Notice he said that with a straight face. Did you see him crack a smile? Because I didn't. I mean, how clueless are these people? It's just really sad. Now, I have to say that in light of everything that's happening with FTX, everything that happened with Terra Luna, Three Arrows Capital, I mean, you name it, we are dealing with a bunch of degens that are taking advantage of the general public. And it's really sad. I mean, we're way far off the mission that we set out to accomplish with cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin, being the grandfather of all of them, is still remaining true to its principles for the most part. But a lot of projects that I'm seeing now are just a cash grab. Even a lot of these new GPU mineable coins, the CPU mineable coins, even the ASIC mineable coins, there's not a whole lot of true utility. And, even outside of proof of work coins, all of these proof of stake coins and other consensus mechanisms are really geared towards just FOMO, trying to get you to get suckered into buying something that has no true utility, no function, no purpose. And I just want to caution you guys, don't fall into that. I mean, sure, you can make money, perhaps, but are you smart enough to know when to get out? That's tough. Now, if you pay close enough attention, sure, you can do pretty well for yourself. But, just in general, the more BS that keeps continuing to happen, this is what we're going to deal with in Congress, and they're going to shut us down. So stop supporting the degen projects. Look at projects that have true utility and support those projects. Anyway, so in contrast to that, there was a very good question that was asked, and one that I've been asking myself. So obviously Sam Bankman-Fried was supposed to testify in front of Congress today in conjunction with Mr. Ray here. Now, he did provide his speech, and everybody had access to that. I think they all read it. I think they were all severely disappointed. It's just a bunch of finger pointing and blame laying upon everybody else but himself. But him not being there in front of Congress and answering questions before being placed into custody is unfortunate, because it could have, everything that he could have said could have been used against him. And the timing of his arrest, in my opinion, is very unfortunate and very calculated. And let me give you an example of why I think so and why other people think so as well.
Thank you very much. The gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Timmons, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ray. Let's go back to Enron. That trial was from January 30th, 2006 until May 25th, 2006. Pretty lengthy trial. I imagine that the federal prosecutors presented ample evidence. There were all kinds of witnesses. Would it have been helpful to have the defendant testify before Congress for like 6 hours and answer a whole bunch of questions under oath prior to that trial? Would that have been helpful to federal prosecutors?
Well, by that time, the company had been confirmed out of bankruptcy. We had
before he was arrested, would it have been helpful for him to come before Congress and testify for hours on end and answer every question that we could come up with?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
So it would have been really helpful.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. So why 36 hours before he was scheduled to testify before this committee for hours on end, did the Southern District of New York send a provisional arrest warrant to the Bahamian government to facilitate his arrest, to preclude his testimony, which would have been incredibly helpful in the prosecution of Sam Bankman-Fried?
I mean, I obviously can't speak for the agency.
It's kind of bizarre. I mean, I was a prosecutor for a number of years. I prosecuted complex white-collar cases. The thought of getting 6 hours of congressional grilling for a target of investigation or a defendant, that would be great for my case. So I just don't understand. I guess the grand jury returned the indictment on the 9th. Technically, you can delay weeks if you want to. So this was a decision made by somebody at DOJ to prevent Sam Bankman Fried from coming here in a couple hours and testifying before Congress, answering questions in front of the American people. I've read his alleged testimony that he was going to give. He's basically saying that he lacks the criminal intent. He lacks mens rea. He's saying that his attorneys pressured him into filing Chapter 11, that he immediately, after doing a DocuSign to sign away everything, said, I don't want to do that, told his attorneys, again, this is all what he says, told his attorneys that undo it, I do not want to do that. And it seems that he's been taking steps ever since that to try to wrangle control of his companies back. Is that fair to say?
So if you didn't catch that, he said that someone at the DOJ, and if you don't know what the DOJ is, that's the Department of Justice. And my question to you is, why the hell would the Department of Justice send this order to the Bahamas to have Sam arrested prior to this committee? It seems very, very calculated, in my opinion. And also the order, if you'll notice, came out of New York. And I think that there's a lot of foul play amiss. And it may be a very, very long time before we get to the bottom of all of this, but just pay attention to these little details. All these little things matter in the long run. Anyways, moving on. So we've got a little bit of news from Toncoin. Nothing that really stands out to me, but apparently it's garnering some attention. So here's a roundup of the ecosystem's most exciting news from the past 7 days. So number one, the number of new accounts created on Ton from December 4th to the 10th grew from 1,519,000 to 1,572,000, or a gain of 3.5%. The Telegram team launched the sale of virtual numbers based on Ton, which allows users to create anonymous accounts on Telegram. Anonymous numbers are available on the Fragment platform. And then CryptoMus, I'm not sure what that is. Cryptocurrency payment system added support for Ton. And then the official ton.org website was updated. The Ton blog section and new section for developers was launched. The Ton community survey kicked off. DeFi Llama, the largest TVL aggregator for DeFi, started tracking Ton. And then Aussies announced the launch of Megaton Finance, a new DEX based on the Ton blockchain. And then the Christmas NFT contest ends in a matter of hours. The Tegro team completed testing for Libermal NFT marketplace on the Ton testnet and intends to launch the platform in the mainnet by the end of the year. So a lot of things happening on Ton. And again, I don't think that a lot of us in the US are aware of the development that's going on with Ton, but definitely something to keep track of, because now Ton is number 22 by market cap. And if it continues to hold that place as we go into the next bull run, this coin is definitely going to surpass its all-time high, which I think was around $5.50 or so. I mean, imagine Ton hitting $10, $15. If you mine this and you've got a substantial bag, you could be doing pretty well. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about Kaspa currency in Zelcore. So this was posted by Daniel Keller earlier today, and yeah, I sure hope that this is the case. I mean, obviously being added to Zelcore is huge. Now that doesn't mean a partnership or any type of parallel asset between Kaspa and Flux, but it does insinuate that there's a relationship there, right? Interesting to know. Anyways, another interesting tweet that I saw today is in regards to the 7900 XTX and some hash rates. So I'm not familiar with this gentleman, Lucas Pepperio. Anyway, he posted yesterday some hash rates. I guess he got his hands on a 7900 XTX a little early. Look at this, 82 mega hash at 308 watts with no overclocking whatsoever. And then he says up here, 82 without efficiency overclocks. It is something surprising. Remember that the 6900 XT did a maximum of 65 megahash. I believe it should be border your 90 megahash with a consumption of 250 watts if you do the correct overclocks. So here I'm going to toot my own horn a little, so to speak, right? So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know I have something called a TPA calculator, where I basically created this spreadsheet to compare all of the GPUs across all algorithms, to compare them to one another performance-wise without having to use Ethereum's hash rate to describe the size of your farm. And then I expanded upon that and I created another spreadsheet to help me predict what I thought hash rates would be on the 4000 series and the 7000 series coming out. And bear in mind, I made this chart months ago. I think we're getting it close to 2 months ago whenever I created this. And I just want to show you guys, it looks like it's pretty freaking accurate so far. So we had the 4090 come out and we know hash rates on that. And look at what we came in. So 127 megahash at 260 watts with efficiency at about 0.488. That turned out to be pretty accurate. Now we have the 4080 and check this out. 180 watts, 88 megahash, almost 89. So what do we currently have on a 4080? Well, let's take a look. Let's see here. Let me get rid of this one. 87 megahash at 200 watts. Let's go back to this little calculator here. So let's go 200 watts. That would put us at 91 megahash. So that's within an acceptable acceptable margin, in my opinion, for me predicting this months in advance before we actually had the graphics cards, based strictly off of things like CUDA cores, bus size, memory bandwidth, all that good stuff. So now let's take a look at what we predicted on the 7900 XTX. At 230 watts, it predicted 95 megahash. And what is this guy saying? He's saying with the right overclocks, you can get 90 megahash at 250 watts. So what does that tell us about the other 7000 series GPUs? So a 7900 XT at 200 watts should get you about 90 megahash. A 7800 XT, 180 watts, 83 megahash. And from looking at this, it looks like the 7600 and the 7700 will be the most efficient, coming in at 0.48. Yeah, 0.48 on each one efficiency. So I would like to get my hands on a 7900 XTX, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter where you go. They're sold out. They sold out in minutes. So looking at Best Buy, I looked at this all night last night, expecting them to pop up any minute. I didn't stay up till midnight. Didn't see any until about 7 a.m. this morning, and they were all sold out by the time I looked at it at 7 a.m. So you've only got a few on Best Buy. And then as far as Newegg is concerned, earlier today, this all showed coming soon. And then a few hours later, I checked it, and every single one out of stock. Now, depending on how bad you want one, you could get your hands on one if you're willing to pay, how about 10 grand? Or, you know, if you can wait another 5 to 7 days, you may be able to get one a little bit cheaper. This one's a buy it now for $21.99. So more than double the MSRP. You can pick one up on eBay. Well, how about Micro Center? So it does not matter what store, every single store is sold out. Now you might be able to get your hands on a 7900 XT, but not an XTX. So, you know, as far as efficiency for mining is concerned, when it comes to memory intensive algorithms, you know, I'd rather spend half the price on 30 series or 6000 series GPUs. Are probably going to be more efficient from what I'm seeing. However, the jury is still out on core intensive algorithms, which seems to be where a lot of the new GPU mineable coins are going, because I think they all want to eventually get to a point where FPGAs and ASICs will adopt it and it will continue on. But, you know, if you're watching a channel like mine, chances are you're paying attention and you're trying to get into these projects super early. And if those are core intensive algorithms, then perhaps the 7000 series is going to be a beast on those. And if, in case you guys hadn't seen the previous video, one thing that I learned about the 7000 series is it does have the way that they're stacking the chips. It is going to have a lot more capability on core intensive algorithms, but we don't have any hash rates on those. I've asked this particular gentleman on Twitter to provide additional hash rates on some of those algos like Kaspa and Radiant and Flux, but he's responded and said something's coming soon. And as soon as I get it, I will update you guys. So before we get out of here, I just want to say I will be gone for the next couple of days. I've got a very large job several hours away from my house, and I'll be staying overnight to finish up this large project. It's this giant house on a lake, and we're doing, I don't know, it's probably like a $200,000 AV job. So there's a lot to do there. It's finishing out. I'm going to be stuck there for a couple of days. I won't have any of my, recording equipment with me. So if you can bear with me for a couple of days, I'll be back. Just hang tight. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.